Hi dears, let's learn about Roman Polanski's Macbeth, 1971. It is a film adaptation of William Shakespeare's play Macbeth. It is a gritty adaptation of Shakespeare's tragedy. Gritty meanings raw. Introduction. As we know, Shakespeare's Macbeth is one of the most performed tragedies. It has themes like ambition, power, guilt, fate, and moral corruption. Set in medieval Scotland, explores the psychological downfall of Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And we can see that here are some adaptations of Macbeth like Orson Welles' 1948 film, Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood 1957, Ken Hughes' Joe Macbeth 1955, Vishal Bhardwaj Makbul 2004. They are all examples of film adaptations taken from the play Macbeth. Each version reimagines tone, setting, and themes. About Roman Polanski's Macbeth 1971. It is directed and co-written by Roman Polanski and Kenneth Tynan, starring John Finch and Francisca Annis, set in brutal medieval Scottish landscapes, among the most realistic and cinematic Shakespeare films. Visual tone and cinematic style. The movie opens with a blood red sunrise, symbolic of fate and violence. Natural settings are replaced by theatrical sets. Cinematography by Gil Taylor. He has a deep focus, widescreen and long takes. The movie is rich in mud, rain, fog and blood. Realism over artifice. Polanski's context and influence. It is the first film after the Manson murders. This murder means his wife was murdered, and after this film was released. Critics saw it as cathartic, but Polanski denied that claim. He quotes, "If I had made a comedy, the charge would have been one of callousness." Personal trauma deepened the tone of violence and fatalism. So critics says that it was after the death of his wife. That's why he wrote such a cathartic film. Okay, but he is saying that if I had made a comic film or comedy included film, it would be like saying he is a callous people or he doesn't care about his wife's death. Faithfulness to Shakespeare's text. This film is one of the most textually faithful adaptations. The dialogue and structure are largely intact. Creative freedom shines through visual storytelling, not through rewritten scripts. It avoids theatricality, embraces cinematic realism. Major visual and narrative deviations. Here, witches are a full coven, not three individuals. Duncan's murder is shown on the screen, whereas in the play, it was only said that Duncan was murdered and all. Lady Macbeth's sleepwalking is shown in nude. Realism and not a suggestion. Silence, imagery, and pacing are replaced as monologues. Monologues means we are talking to oneself. So, this silence, imagery, and pacing that is moving from one place to place, it is replaced into monologues. Character reinterpretations. So, we can see that Rose, he from a minor messenger to a Machiavellian opportunist. So it is a Machiavellian means someone who is cunning or unscrupulous in order to achieve their dreams. And seen plotting and observing politics visually. Facilitates Macduff's family's murder. Here, Macduff's wife and children were murdered. Adds the moral complexity. Donald Bain, hunchback, envious brother visiting witches at end. Cyclical violence. Donald Bain is the eldest. Yeah, Malcolm is the eldest son, and Younger son is Donald Wayne, so he's a hunchback and he's envious as the Malcolm becomes king. He's envious of him and he's visiting the witches. So we can see that the cycle of violence will be continued. Themes and motives: fatalism, ambition, paranoia, and cyclical violence. They are the themes in it, and we can also see that there are recurring symbols. Severed arm represents Macbeth, dagger means murder, nose equal to death or fate. And we can also see blood imagery, sunlight, and shadows, which mark transitions of guilt and doom. Sound and atmosphere: natural sounds and eerie silence. The soliloquies become internal voiceovers. The witches scene is enhanced by wind and chanting. Screams during murders builds a psychological horror. Polanski's realism and brutality. He emphasized on graphic violence, like the murder of Duncan and killing of Macduff's family. Polanski says that if you make a film about murder, you have to show the murder. Realism replaces Shakespeare's poetic abstraction. Audience experiences shock, not pity. Themes reflecting 1970s context. So why we can check that why the 1970s has this graphic violence and all included in the film because it was an era of violence, uncertainty and political unrest. Lady Macbeth symbolizes emerging female power, echoes of post war trauma and modern brutality. Shakespeare's timeless ideas reimagined for a darker age. Now we can see the difference from Shakespeare's tragedy. That is, Shakespeare's Macbeth is symbolic psychological tragedy, whereas Polanski's Macbeth is brutal and physical realism. Where the play is stage bound and poetic, the film is cinematic and visual storytelling. At the end of the play, we can see hope in Malcolm and Macduff, versus the film ends in nihilism. So, Donald Bain is seen going to the witches at the end of the film. Then, suggestive of violence. But in the movie, we can see graphic depictions of murder. Elizabethan morality versus modern existential despair. That is the major difference between Shakespeare's tragedy and Polanski's Macbeth. Conclusion: Polanski's Macbeth transforms tragedy into visual fatalism. It reflects postmodern disillusionment, keeps Shakespeare's essence but alters the tone from moral downfall to inescapable doom. Proves Shakespeare's plays can be cinematically reimagined without losing its depth. Okay, thank you.